Greetings once again, my friends, and welcome back to Drak Vlogs E3 2017. Oh boy! So EA didn't go so well. I've since had some time to cool off after taking care of that, but let's go ahead and bounce into the next conference that happened, which was the first of the big three, and that was Xbox. And we literally started things off with exactly how I expected it to go. We finally found out what Scorpio is. It is the Xbox One X. Because adding an X makes it sound cool. Thanks, Bender. So yes, the Xbox One X has been announced. It's going to be coming out November 7th, 2017. So if you don't have an Xbox One by now, it is highly recommended. And I actually would step with them and say, if you don't have that by now, you should probably go with this. Because even I'll admit, like, as much as I want to make fun of the Xbox One X, when they went into the tech specs of it, and I'm a tech geek, even I was kind of dumbfounded at the amount of power that this console has. So I would actually say, like, if you don't have an Xbox One by now, then great. This is probably the one to get because it's going to be doing full-on 4K Ultra if you have a 4K TV. If you don't, that doesn't even matter because it will simulate 4K on a 1080p TV. My thoughts on it are, unfortunately, because the other thing that I got announced was its price tag, which is $500. I already paid $500 for my Xbox One Elite, so no. I'm not paying that again. Maybe if my Xbox One breaks down, then I'll get an Xbox One X, but that's still too much to upgrade, in my honest opinion. So yeah, the Scorpio got revealed to be the Xbox One X, and man, that's going to be, like, say that 3 times fast. Xbox One X, I can't even do it. And they immediately started moving into games that, of course, are going to look more amazing on Xbox One X, but are also going to look good on your regular Xbox One. This was, now that I think about it, like, in the conference, they really did kind of give the whole vibe that they did when Xbox One got revealed and said, well, if you're not going to buy our Xbox One and see all the awesome features, there's also an awesome other thing called the Xbox 360. That's kind of what they did, but I'm going to say it wasn't that bad. They started things off with Forza 7, which usually I can go into a car game, but I'm not a Forza fan. I'm not a Gran Turismo fan. Usually I'm just a Need for Speed fan. And so, like, my notes are literally like, oh, a car port! Oh my gosh! New port! Why did they do this? So they actually unveiled the new Porsche on stage because it's going to be in the game. It's like, why? Why do you have to why do you have to unveil a car there too? I get it that, you know, car fans are going to be car fans, but it makes no sense to even put it in there. We are already seeing it on the screen. We know what it looks like. I don't get it. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. But that's going to be releasing October 3rd, 2017. So Forza 7 is finally coming for people who are excited for that. Then the next announcement that they went into was Metro Exodus. Now, I actually have not played a Metro game ever. And I will actually admit that when they did the gameplay trailer for this, it looked pretty good. I like the fact that there was a bunch of, for lack of a better term, zombie animals. It really felt like these things were just out for human flesh. And we got showcased, like, rats and some infected wolves, as well as a big old infected bear. So that looked pretty cool. It looked pretty impressive. Am I going to get it? I don't know. I would want to play through the other Metro. I know there's at least one other Metro game. I'd want to play through that first. Assassin's Creed Origins also finally got unveiled on the Xbox conference. So Assassin's Creed Origins, it's what we've been hearing about for the longest while. After 2 years, they're coming back to Assassin's Creed, but this time, we're going to go to ancient Egypt and follow, I believe it was either Dayak or Bayek, because I couldn't actually tell what they were saying on the... It's one of those problems that I have with Ubisoft, is 80% of them are French, and so it's like, I can't tell your B's from your D's. So it's either Bayek or Dayak, and that's going to be the character that you follow. He is an Egyptian magi, or as they said, like an Egyptian sheriff. I would actually say more he's like the local magistrate. He's the local law enforcer. So they showcased the features of Assassin's Creed Origins by showcasing his hometown and the fact that it has been taken over by the cult. I believe they said the cult of Anubis. So there's going to be a lot more mystic stuff now in Assassin's Creed than there has been. Although I'm still a little annoyed by this. We're only going to be following Bayek. I'm going to go with Bayek for now. We're only going to be following Bayek. We're not going to follow Desmond Miles or another person in the modern era. I don't know how I feel about that, because I still like the Desmond storyline. Now, granted, I'm still making my way through the other AC games, but I like that storyline. I don't know why they got rid of it. So, yeah, and I have to point this out, because already this made me very wary of the game, is that now it has RPG mechanics. So there's level up, there's levels, there's talents, there's equipment to get. You can basically get the fat loots when you kill somebody. I'm wary about Assassin's Creed trying to introduce more features when they already had buggy games to begin with. So, and I've had this discussion with a few people, but I do know that there were bugs and glitches when Unity released as well as when Syndicate released. So at that point, I'm not happy about that. If they can't get that down, and I don't think 2 years was enough time for them to do it, this makes me more worried that these systems are going to be broken at launch. So people can be mad at me for that, but that's my viewpoint. It looked good. I mean, I'm not going to say visually it didn't look good. It looked good. I especially like their new take on Eagle Vision, which is basically to take Bayek's pet eagle and have him look over the place. That's actually really cool. It's one of those things that might have been cool in other Assassin's Creed games. Maybe it's been implemented. I don't know. But it's literal Eagle Vision. And it's going to be releasing October 27th, 2017. So, tail end of October. Don't know how I feel about that. I'll be looking into this stuff more and more, but I'm still very wary about Assassin's Creed Origins and whether or not it's going to be able to dig Assassin's Creed out of the rut that I honestly feel they're in. So the next thing that came up was PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which is a multiplayer battle royale that was showcased exclusive to Xbox. I believe it's been out for... I wasn't sure about that, if it had been out at all. It's post-apocalyptic, so the best way that I know how to explain it is... it's like a post-apocalyptic battle royale game. So, dare I say... Another game later on has this problem too, but it's like it's Hunger Games the game, and you get to have a bunch of different models. It looked interesting. It looked good, like visually, but not. If it's multiplayer only, then I'm not interested. So the next one was Deep Rock Galactic, which was this was basically where they were showcasing, because they made the big promise that they had 42 new games to announce and 22 of them were exclusive. So they basically pumped games out endlessly. And you know what? I actually like this concept because Sony's done it too, and it works. So yeah, we had Deep Rock Galactic, which is the best way I know how to explain it is like it had Minecraft meets Doom feel to me. It looked like Minecraft, but at the same time, it also looked kind of like pixelated like Doom, the original Doom. So kind of interesting. Then up next came State of Decay 2, which is yet another zombie game. Although I know that there is a State of Decay and people do like it. I do know that some people are excited for State of Decay 2. I am not, and it's just simply because it's a zombie post-apocalyptic game. I'm done with those. It did look good, I'll admit that, but no, I'm not even considering picking it up. The next one, and this is the one I was talking about before, the Darwin Project, which is, it's just Hunger Games the game. Oh joy. That's what it is. Good on you. Up next was a bunch of announcements from Minecraft, which was announcing community support and crossplay, so you could actually play like with people on Xbox One, on PC, on Nintendo Switch, all of that stuff. And then on top of that, they announced the Super Duper Graphics Pack, which is bringing everything up to 4K, which is good. You know, Minecraft fans rejoice. I didn't necessarily have any problems with this, but it didn't necessarily speak to me. Dragon Ball FighterZ was then announced, and so this is the Guilty Gear people, I believe, working on a Dragon Ball Z game. I mean, it looked okay, but it's basically your classic 2D fighter with Dragon Ball Z characters. So this has been done before. It hasn't been done good, in my opinion, but this one at least looked somewhat interesting. It's 3v3, so it's like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Except now you can have like Goku, Vegeta, and Majin Buu in your party. So I'll honestly look at this when it comes out, but it's releasing early. I think it's early 2018. So it's too soon to call. I did find it interesting that it only goes up to Z and it didn't mention Dragon Ball Super. I think that's by design too. So maybe they are going off the assumption that, Dragon Ball Super isn't over yet. People don't know if they like it or not. And so we'll just stick to Dragon Ball Z, which was what everybody loved. So the next one up was Black Desert, which is an MMO exclusive to Xbox. And it looked impressive, but I can't really say much more than that because all we got was like a teaser trailer. So Black Desert, which is going to be an MMORPG exclusive to Xbox One. The Last Night was an indie game that's being published by Raw Fury and directed by Tim Soray. It looks like, and this one caught my eye a lot because it looked like a nod to Out of This World. If people remember that game, so the Eric Chahi game, I'd be interested in this one. I'll look it up or I'll keep track of it because from what we actually were able to see, it looked really good. As an indie game. So I'm looking forward to that. Then we also had The Artful Escape, which was an indie game that looks a lot like, the best way I know how to describe it was like it was Little Big Planet meets Broken Age, because it has like the Broken Age kind of animation as well as world creation like Little Big Planet. So it's intriguing, but I don't know much else aside from that, the trailer that they gave. Then we also got Code Vein, which is an indie Dark Souls-esque game. Pass. Coming out early 2018, and then we moved into Rare's Sea of Thieves. Now, people might remember, I think I covered this the last one, or in E3 2016. They announced Sea of Thieves, and I wasn't too impressed by it, because they didn't have a whole lot to announce with it, and it still looked very much early in development. With Sea of Thieves here, we got a much more polished product. We actually got to see like more of what it's supposed to be. This is basically a pirate MMO for those who don't know what it is. It's being designed by Rare, not the Rare you guys know, the new Rare that Xbox owns, with most of the old Rare people gone. And this is a pirate MMO, so basically you're going to be spending a lot of time in your ship, but you're also going to be discovering buried treasure and looking for various ways to be able to get money and all that stuff. So, I mean, it looked interesting, but I'm still very worried about how open-ended this is, and eventually hunting for treasure is going to get old pretty quick. So, I don't know necessarily how they're going to keep it all together, but hey, it has my interest now, whereas last year it didn't. So, good on you guys, Rare. The next one that we're going to go into, or that went into, was Tacoma, which is... It was an indie game, and I wasn't even sure what was going on with it. Aside from a bunch of colored people and all that, I don't necessarily get what was going on. Then came a game and that was coming August 2nd, by the way. Then came a game that I was very much interested in, and I didn't think we'd ever see this on an Xbox console. Super Lucky's Tale, which is a collectible platformer, at least it looks like that. And it looks like, something that even a nostalgic gamer or like a family would be interested in. It follows a little fox going on his little journey, collecting coins, saving his friends, all that fun stuff. And it looked really awesome. It looks heavily inspired by like old school Rare and Nintendo. So I was very interested in that title. That's coming out November 7th, 2017. And I'll also even say, I really do think that the fox was inspired by Tails. Roughly. He doesn't have two tails, but the design looks very familiar. And then up next, we had Cuphead, which finally has a release date. Yay! For those who didn't watch my previous video, Cuphead is basically a Contra-esque kind of shooter, a shoot-'em-up game that is based in like 1930s animation. So it looks really, really fun. And it's going to be coming out September 29th, 2017. I'm looking forward to that. That's immediately getting added to the try list because I'm excited. Then up next came Crackdown 3, which we knew was going to be there, but we didn't know that Terry Crews was going to be there with it. So Terry Crews was basically announcing the trailer, and I even put in the notes like here, just going, it looks intriguing, but expect lots of yelling, because, it's Terry Crews. And that's releasing November 7th, 2017, so Crackdown fans rejoice, you finally get Crackdown 3. Then we got an indie game showcase, and I could literally go down this list, and it would take forever, and I'm not going to do it. But there were games that I was interested in. There were games that I wasn't interested in. A couple of ones that I was interested in were like Osiris New Dawn, Unruly Heroes, Path of Exile. See, Robocraft, I was kind of interested in that one, and Shift. Yeah. So it was like a 50-50 kind of thing where I was kind of interested, or I was not interested at all, or I was actually interested in the title. But yeah, the games they showcased were Osiris New Dawn, Raiders, Unruly Heroes, Path of Exile, Battle Right, Surviving Mars, Fable Fortune, Observer, Robocraft, Dunk Lords, Minion Masters, Brawlout, Ooblets, Dark and Light, Strange Brigade, River Bond, Hello Neighbor, Shift, and Conan Exiles. So there you go. Then up next came Ashen, which is basically just another Dark Souls game. Whoop-de-doo! Coming out, do I actually have it? No, they don't have a release date for it yet, but they wanted to get people excited. And then we also have Life is Strange Before the Storm. So I know my buddy Brinton is rejoicing because we found this story a couple of months ago that there was talk of a Life is Strange prequel. And so Xbox got to announce it. Life is Strange Before the Storm. It's a 3-episode arc, and it's going to be starting up August 31st, 2017. But it is multi-platform, so it's not Xbox exclusive. So that's already going to be a plus for Brinton. I don't know. I haven't played Life is Strange, but he has been strongly encouraging me to play it. So maybe I'll pick up the original game and see what I think. Up next came Middle-earth Shadow of War. For people who followed the original game, what they're basically doing here is they've upgraded the Nemesis system. Now, instead of just being, I think the first game, again, I haven't played it, is that you're kind of a solo wrecking crew. This one actually tries to have you recruit an army and secure positions and actually make your way to Mordor. It looked really, really cool. Enough to make me consider maybe getting into the other Middle-earth game, but not by much. I had heard good things about the Nemesis system, though, that people really did like it. So, and then then the next one was Ori. I'm going to probably murder this name because I know of this Ori and the Blind Forest. I think it's Ori. But now they're announcing the sequel, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is the sequel. It looks very interesting, looks very awesome. I'll admit that when I saw it, I immediately looked up Ori and the Blind Forest. And have decided that I'm going to go play it in my own time. So I'm excited for that, and hopefully I'll be through Blind Forest before Will of the Wisps so that I can do a Drak tries and all that for it. And of course, probably the two biggest announcements that they had at the entire conference, and wow, I'm going to have to eat some crow to Alex because we just barely had a Geek News episode where I said that backwards compatibility is probably a thing of the past. Apparently I was wrong because they had to announce that since the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility program has been working out so well for them, probably because people had downloaded but aren't necessarily playing online, they have officially decided to introduce original Xbox backwards compatibility. That's not bad in my opinion. I actually I get how backwards compatibility is an issue, but if somebody could figure out how to do it, I would be very happy about it, and I gotta hand my hat off to Xbox. They figured out a way, and so now you have a. This is basically their third console that they've made, and now they've made it backwards compatible with its other two consoles. Granted, I think the list is going to be limited, but that's still a good concept, you know. Even the 360 had some backwards compatibility with Xbox games. Granted, it was more of the popular ones, but that was a good decision to make. So I'll applaud them there, and that's going to be launching later this year. So you guys can look forward to that. Hopefully you kept your Xbox games, because, yeah, that would be a problem if you didn't. Then finally, they did what EA could not. We finally got to see the new IP from BioWare, Anthem. Which, I'm going to murder this horribly, but this is basically what I thought of when I saw it. It looks like Destiny 2 meets up with, like, Monster Hunter. So, and I might be wrong on that, and I already could feel like through the ether, my buddy Aldo Gomez is wanting to smack me. But basically, you live in a post-apocalyptic world, and you take on random missions that are in your kind of hub area, but you are able to take control of exosuits, and they can all have different features, and you can go out into the world and kill monsters, go save people, go collect loot, go do all of that stuff, and you have access to all of the exosuits right off the bat. In fact, you can upgrade them as you go along. I will admit I'm very interested in this one, but I hope there's just as much single-player content as there is multiplayer content in this case. Because here's the bottom line, guys, and people think I'm very anti-multiplayer. I'm not. But sometimes when I want to play a game, nobody's available. So I can't necessarily do the multiplayer, and I always enjoy a good story. So at that point, if it doesn't have a story, then why play it, to me? Sure, I can get it, like, I can get games like Overwatch, which, you know, has some story, but not like an actual story mode, and go play it with friends, but I don't spend a whole lot of time on Overwatch on multiplayer games because I don't have the time, and usually by the time I do have it, people aren't available. So I hope that there's enough single player content to do in Anthem instead of multiplayer content, because if there's multiplayer content, then I'm already tuned out of it. Overall, it looked really, really good. I'm very excited for it to see what they have going, but that's really all my thoughts on Anthem so far. And that wrapped up the Xbox conference. So overall, I'm going to say a few things that are going to be shocking. I don't hate the Xbox conferences by any stretch, but I do get bored in them because a lot of the games that are getting showcased, I'm not necessarily interested in. But in this case, that was not the issue. I think they kept me engaged for a good portion of it, just through all the sheer game announcements that they were making and all the exclusivity that was being announced. I was very happy about that. I thought that Scorpio was going to bore me, but as a tech geek, I actually got very interested and invested in what they were actually doing with it. So I can actually recommend the Xbox One X to people if you don't have one already and if you're not looking for a cheaper model kind of thing. That's the caveat here. So there you go. My thoughts are that this was actually, most of the time they've been given like a B-, a C+ performance to me in previous years. This is a solid B. B+. This kept me engaged. This gave me a bunch of games that I can look forward to on my Xbox One that I can either do a tries for you or go play on my own spare time. So I was very excited about that. And yeah, overall, this is a much better conference. Congratulations, Xbox. You were able to pull it out. And that's going to go ahead and do it for my vlog on Xbox. When we come back for the vlogs, up next will be the AAA developer Bethesda, which I'm not necessarily a fan, but let's see what they can actually come up with this year. We'll see you guys then.